so powerful, it actually causes the Earth to wobble on its axis, slowing its revolution and shortening that fateful day by almost 3 microseconds. The 2004 tsunami is a mega disaster that came out of nowhere. Or did it? The Earth appears to be getting more deadly than ever before.
We know that there are many cases where the worst has not yet been seen.
Are natural disasters becoming more frequent and more deadly? To find out, we'll explore one of the century's most destructive events and examine 3 critical cities where earthquakes, volcanoes, and hurricanes are poised to strike death blows against helpless populations. Can we avoid the outbursts of our violent planet? Or are we like this man on a beach in Thailand, helpless in the path of Mother Nature's fury? This suburb of Banda Aceh in northern Sumatra, just before the tsunami. And after. One bridge survived the ocean's onslaught. Barely. Yesterday, 30,000 Sumatrans lived inside of this bridge. But the ocean's upheaval killed 9 out of 10 people here. Yulianto and his son Rido miraculously beat the odds.
Sampai hari ini dia belum tahu bagaimana ke depan ini.
We don't have anything anymore
Tidak punya apa-apa lagi.
except what we have on our bodies.
Baju yang di badan.
2004's disaster robbed Yulianto and Rido of more than their possessions. Father and son scour refugee camps in search of Rido's 2 sisters and his mother.
I feel that since I was saved, then maybe my mother is out there somewhere. We're looking for everyone.
It's been a century since a major tsunami had hit northern Sumatra. But the islanders fear they haven't seen the worst. The monster that terrifies them came from a commonplace force of nature. About a dozen tectonic plates make up the Earth's crust. Floating on a sea of magma, these massive slabs constantly jostle each other. Just off the coast of Sumatra, a fault line where the India Plate and the Burma Plate meet. As one subducted the other, it released a tremendous amount of energy. This is a thrust fault, and it created the killer quake. And because it happened underwater, it displaced a massive volume of ocean, breeding the quake's deadly twin, a tsunami. The quake was among the most devastating in history, measuring up to 9.3 on the Richter scale. It exploded with the force of more than 36,000 Hiroshima-sized atomic bombs. Its staggering size makes scientists worry about the future of our planet. Geologist John Ebel desperately scours seismic records to find out, could more be coming?
This is really one of the most profound earthquakes we've seen so far on planet Earth. From 1946 to 1964, we had several earthquakes of this size take place over a very short time span. Then we go 40 years after 1964, nothing this large on the Earth until 2004.
Risking aftershocks and disease, scientists take stock just how large it was.
Every time I turn the corner, it's just something else just blows my mind. Here's a boat on top of a pickup truck wedged in a building. Think of the force it must take to bend a truck bed.
Tsunami scientist Jose Barrero uses surveying tools and GPS mapping to quantify the tsunami's power at maximum impact. An analysis of the wave's destruction could offer ways to protect people from the next one.
Mud on white.
And on a planet that seems ever more violent, the next one's almost guaranteed. Already, Barrero reaches a conclusion that should send chills through coastal city dwellers everywhere. Living in a city actually makes people more vulnerable to this disaster than elsewhere.
If you're, say, in a coconut grove or something and there's a tsunami coming, the water's going to spread out, but here you don't have much chance of escaping.
Escape? Almost impossible. The surging water tore through town, gathering cars, trucks, and building debris into a raging wall of destruction. As people scrambled for safety, the town's buildings channeled the unstoppable juggernaut into narrow streets, where it bulldozed everything in its path. Its speed increased, and the reach of death climbed ever higher. The difference between life and death was literally measured in inches.
2 to 3 meters. If you were here, you would have lived. If you were here, you died.
Death may be planning another visit to Sumatra. One geologist estimates that only a fraction of this fault, just 6% of its total length, caused the killer quake. That leaves 94%, some 2,400 miles of the fault line apparently dormant. There's more. This quake may spawn a future killer quake somewhere else in the world. A new theory suggests earthquakes are caused by a global chain reaction. And Sumatra's hammer blow may itself have been triggered by an earthquake a year earlier and half a world away. December 26, 2003. Exactly 1 year before Banda Aceh's killer wave. A massive earthquake flattens the city of Bam, Iran, taking some 26,000 lives. Though Bam is about 3,000 miles from Sumatra, the two disasters may be part of a deadly chain reaction. A planet's fault lines may act like a spider's web. Moving one threat could affect others, with deadly results.
If these plates are all part of one vast interconnected system, then a movement in a plate on one side of the world will cause jostling on the other side of the world. So why shouldn't the collision of two plates in Iran produce a series of shock waves and judders which eventually, a year later, caused the Indian plate to subduct below the Burma plate, which is what happened off Banda Aceh.
If the theory is true, the Banda Aceh quake could set off another somewhere else in the world. Many major cities are near fault lines. San Francisco, Mexico City,